And again, when Hillary was asked at the last, quote, debate, they're not debates, but presidential reality shows, you have 2 minutes to answer a question about foreign policy, that she was quoted in a speech saying she wanted open borders and open trade and more growth for globalization. She diverted it by saying that, that Trump was in bed with Putin. And so they just divert the issues. It's McCarthyism at its height. Right now, getting the people to hate Russia while they're diverting the reality.
I agree, Gerald. And since you mention it, the blinders really have come off. We're learning that everything you covered, I covered, Ron Paul talked about forever, we've all been vindicated. Special interests, globalists, they want us poor, they're dumb, they admit it, they want a monopoly, they don't want a middle class. It's the opposite of prosperity and the Renaissance. These are true dirtbags that want us poor.
Yes, and again, the numbers are there. Since 1988 to now, real income, when adjusted for inflation, is flat. It's below 1999 levels.
They want a nation of renters, so they want us poor. Trump is bucking that. That's why the whole system's against him. Could it be clearer?
Yeah, it's all populist movement. People are fed up with the elites. Again, what I'm saying is what WikiLeaks has showed us is how the elites are running the game. And the most important part of this, as I see it, this is only one little grain of sand that leaks from all. This is only from one guy.
It's one guy, exactly, and it's total, exactly.
Could you imagine if we got more information from all the criminals out there that like to call themselves Republicans and Democrats that are shafting us?
By the way, you're right. The Republicans are just as involved. That's why they're trying to block the populist movement.
Exactly. And by the way, after this election, matter of fact, it's going to be one of our top trends for 2017, populism. The conservative, the quote, old conservative Republican Party is dead. It's as dead as McCain, as empty as McConnell, and
the Bushes,
as stupid as Lindsey Graham. And so what we're saying is, though, Alex, what we're looking at is just a tiny peephole into this elitism through Podesta's emails.
That's a great point. This is only a tiny peephole. Imagine, this is like totally insane. This one email, the whole press can't even cover the corruption. These people are like demons, just corruption. Can you imagine one guy, the corruption's so bad, the whole media can't track it. Can you imagine the thousands of them, what it's really like?
That's exactly what I'm saying.
No, you crystallized it. You had an original thought there, which I don't mean that patronizing. Almost no one does. That totally just blew me away. No one said that yet. This is only one people. Joe Salente's done it again. Oh my God. Can you imagine if we had all their emails? I mean, these people have demonic energy, I'm telling you. Hillary herself is running 4 or 5 networks and all the major newspapers, approving stuff herself through her aides. How do they do this much work? The animating contest of liberty is here, and people think you die, whether you believe in God or not. What you stand for, what you write, what you build, the culture you create goes on and lives through others. It's like ancient cave drawings would be a loving testament to those of the future, not through some arrogance, but with a need to go on and commune with our own species. Empathy is the true mark of consciousness. And the need to build others up, including yourself, is civilization. And the American experiment, an experiment not perfect, but the greatest ever, became the apple of the world's eye. People came here to experience the limited freedom we have. And then it created incredible wealth. It created the biggest government the world's ever seen because a parasite could be created to feed off that magnificent host. And now that parasite is so twisted it wants to kill its host because it's in competition with it. That shows the blindness of the system. And so Trump, an imperfect messenger, as we all are, is trying to unseat that monopoly and believes in the engine of freedom. That's why they're in a full panic mode, because anyone in my life I've noticed who's really a smart person involved, who's lived, is confident, is strong, but is, I don't want to say prideful, but is so confident they're not arrogant. And they have understandings of their limitations. You look at these people that have been given everything and they're all about the special interest they're in. It's all about who's the most delusional, who's the most mindless, who believes they're invincible. And that leads us to destruction. So Gerald was getting into where we currently are, the giant populist awakening that I'd say dwarfs in magnitude the Gutenberg printing press 550 years ago by 500 times, 1,000 times, with all the technology, all the compression of time, all the things that are changing, all the things that are happening, all the connections that are going on. We're seeing a giant corporate elite siphon off our ideas and try to suppress innovation because it knows it's threatened by it, even as it wants to rise on that seat. It's just not going to work that way. And so they will lose unless they cause a nuclear war and kill us all. So Gerald Celente is our guest. I want to get into what he sees with the campaign, the last 5.5, 6 days, where this is going. A lot of top pollsters, even Democrats, admit there's been a collapse for Hillary, a total repudiation of this whole synthetic, fake, corporatist, liberal, neocon system. Again, even, I'm not hedging bets here, even if they steal it from Trump or he loses or whatever, we shouldn't get violent because culturally, it's the beginning of the end. It's clear that the organic, true drive of human liberty is absolutely unstoppable.